Hello and welcome to the Commission Mission. My name is Eric Gervais.
I'm Micah Henderson, and today we have what I see as a local celebrity. Everybody knows him to some degree.
6 degrees of Allan Branch.
Allan Branch. Great reputation here in the community. Got his fingers in several different projects as an entrepreneur, and we have a lot of wisdom to give to all the entrepreneurs and everybody new in sales out there. Allan, thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me live in the studio.
Live in the studio,
right.
It's a much better feel. We'll talk to people in Costa Rica via Zoom, and as awesome as that is, I always like being able to reach out and
Sure.
So just learn a little bit about you. Kind of a Renaissance man. Never took no too seriously, and when you had a vision, you saw it through.
Yeah.
And that's what people are doing. I always got to commend sort of the bravery of making the leap of going from the 9 to 5, working for a boss or a manager, making sure you're clocking in on time, to working for yourself.
Sure.
And so to help people make that leap, they're going to tune into these episodes and get some gold nuggets to help the ball rolling.
Yeah. Let's give them nuggets. I don't know about gold nuggets, but we'll give them nuggets.
Well, and they can refine them as they see fit. Take what makes sense and disregard the rest. So when it comes to reputation, you and you mentioned, your family having a reputation here locally. Actually, your uncle helped me, I want to say 7 years ago, get my business set up with the state.
Cool, yeah.
And with that, something that I perceived as a big barrier, I mean, knocked it out in like an hour and a half. Like it really wasn't anything. And we were talking about big barriers and how we perceive them as something that they're not necessarily. And once you get through it, it makes something so big look so small.
Sure.
So how do you think your reputation here in the community has helped your business ventures?
Yeah, so you're kind of leading into my family moved here in the 40s and started restaurants and car washes. And my dad runs some of the car washes. My uncle runs some of the restaurants. And so a lot of people in the community grew up going to my family restaurants and grew up either interacting with my grandfather, working at the car wash. That's going to the car washes, knowing my parents. My parents were also school teachers when I was very, very little, for about 10 years. And so being in the community for 90 years, 80 years, and business owners, you do develop a reputation, either good or bad. And I've inherited that reputation. And there's a privilege with that. So like the whole all growing, I thought I grew up so normal too. But growing up, I would bump into I'd go to school. I went to Bay High. And I would have a teacher, and they would say, Branch, your last name's Branch, like Branches in Tally-Ho, or Branches, I worked at the car. There was always a tie back into my family because this is a small town.
6 degrees to...
Yeah, and, my sister worked at the car wash. There was always a tie back. And so this reputation my parents, my grandparents established for us.
You inherited it.
I inherited it. And that was a privilege. I got second chances when I didn't deserve them. Third chances.
Yeah. But one of the things I've seen you do is embrace that.
Yeah.
Because now, like with the history class, you're restoring old buildings downtown. You're bringing that sense of community and history and culture to the people and sharing that with the community. And I think that's just amazing.
Yeah. Well, my parents brought us up. I grew up with 3 sisters and a brother, and my parents were probably more scared than they were trying to educate me, but they would say things like, you're going to do something stupid, and it's going to be on the news, and then everybody's going to see it, and they're going to stop coming to the car wash, and we're going to lose everything we have.
Big stupid.
Right.
Wow,
So like, don't do anything stupid. And I'm like, but what they were saying is, protect our reputation because your business is your reputation.
Reputation is
reputation is a
important.
story.
Yeah.
And if your story of your family story is, they treated people wrongly, then that's the reputation that you inherit. But I inherited a great reputation, and I don't want to screw that up. I also had a football coach in high school, Jim Scroggins, who would say, it's actually a Bible verse, a good name is to be more desired than great riches, favor is better than silver and gold. And so you really can, with favor, with reputation, it's worth more than gold a lot of times. There's a lot of people that have a lot of money in this town, but have bad reputations.
I like that.
And so
that's a good saying, and that's how important reputation is. Yeah. And a lot of times you don't get a second chance to fix it, or it's very hard to fix it. But all of that backstory and going into investing in community. And I really need to check out the history class and some of the other business ventures. I don't get out too much besides work. Sure. But
he has practically a basketball team of kids at his house.
And they're young, and it's either work or that's my attention.
I grew up there. I think my sister was 12 when the last one was born. So we were all every 2 years, boom, boom, boom. And I talked to my wife and I said, I don't remember my parents ever going out on like a date. Mm-mm. They were always it was just like running defense.
I think we've had like 7 dates in like a decade.
Sure.
Yeah. But
I bet you sleep sounds a lot more enticing than a date.
It does. Yeah. if we went out on a date, we'd get a hotel and just sleep. It wouldn't even be. But going back to community.
Yeah.
And, it would seem to me kind of like a snowball effect of investing in community, increasing reputation, and helping your business ventures out through the great reputation that you've inherited but then built on. Right. Would you say that's the case?
Exactly. Yeah, it's businesses. Marketing is a story. Reputation is a story. Mm-hmm. Everything in life is a story. And so certainly, I don't. I'm more. I don't want to use the word authentic, but your actions can be manipulative. Mm-hmm. You have to actually truly care. Like we donate money and products to the community through History Class Brewing Company and our brew pub downtown. And it's not because we're like, let's track it and see what the return on that investment is. It's because
it's genuine.
It's genuine. And my parents, all growing up, they would donate. Like there was every year there was the fire and police department would come take over the car wash. They would give them all the money to the police department. They would wash all the cars too. Well, actually, most of them would leave at like 2:00 because they're retired. But my parents were always doing stuff in the community, and they never were like, "Now, son, sit down." And when you're you're gonna do they never were like that. They never did like set us down and say, "Here's a life lesson." But
we kind of live by example, though.
Exactly. And I was homeschooled, and we were always at the car wash.
And one of the things that I've learned as a parent is my kids do not do what I tell them to. They do what I do.
Exactly. I do.
And so your parents were an awesome example, I think.
And so growing up, you would hear some of the stories. Your dad always donated free car washes to the Kiwanis Club. Your dad always bought pancake breakfasts for So you just grow up hearing those things, and then it becomes natural. Some of my favorite people in this community are actually the Kramer family, who owned Tommy Thomas. It was Tommy Thomas Chevrolet. Now it's Bill Kramer, and Chris and Will Kramer are my age. And they're running the dealership now, and they came from a family that talked about it, and they would call it paying your civic rent. And it's like being a juror. Like you owe it to your community because someone put time into you growing up and nurtured you.
That forward.
You got to do it back. Otherwise, there's a void in the community. And so it's almost like it's like picking up the trash in front of your house. Like if you don't do it, then who does it?
Exactly. You see that shopping cart, just you're already going there. Put this oddball one back too. Right.
And one of the things I've seen you do really well is not only do you have that reputation and that story, like you said, but you're really good at sharing that story. Sure. I've seen on social media, like you had a project, I think it was called the Ware Home, that you did where you were, it was your house, I think, that you were moving into, but you put the whole thing on social media, recorded every step of the way, the process, even down to, I remember the bricks. There's a big thing with the bricks, that you found bricks, but your ability to put that out and, like you said, embrace your reputation, but say, here it is for everybody to see too, is really crucial, I think, to some of your success. Would you not agree?
Yeah, there's Nathan Barry, who's a friend of mine who owns a company called ConvertKit. He says, I think it's either him or Derek Silvers. It's called Learn in Public, share what you're learning. And when I think it's a lot of it's timing. So like I was user 8,000 on Twitter. So it was like me and my friends. And we were just like, hey, what do you work on today? And here's what I'm working on. And so in my early 20s, that was just part of our work life, was like, hey, I found this interesting. I'm reading this book. Here's my favorite passage from the book. And so when we got on Facebook and all, it's just always been a natural, because that's what I didn't necessarily grow up with in high school, but grew up with professionally. And so sharing that stuff did not feel like marketing. It felt like that habit was established as like, I'm sharing it. It was like a group text. Right?
Yeah.
And so what's funny now is like, I'm like, when I've said things on Facebook, and I'm like, and I'll have like the News Herald or the news station call me, and they'll be like, to clarify the statement. I'm like, statement?
Yeah, that wasn't a statement.
I'm like this. Oh, it is.
That was barely a comment.
Right. And so, I didn't even realize that was people take this so seriously.
The internet's a permanent place. It's going to live forever.
I know.
And
so
don't overthink that.
Exactly. It's out there forever. And so I'm like, yikes. And which actually made me kind of nervous of like, oh, people actually reading this thing. But really, if you look at with social media and town revitalization, or even establishing a town, if you look how towns are created hundreds of years ago, or thousands of years ago, it usually is an entrepreneur who goes to a big piece of land. They say, here's where the school should be, here's where the road should be, here's where a park should be. And then they start a newspaper, because that's how they promote the town to get people to move.
Promotion and marketing.
Yeah. And so if you look at like the Panama City Pilot, which is Panama City's first newspaper, it was started by the founder of the town. And it really is not long articles. It's, hey, Allan this family went over to this house and they had a lovely dinner. This business is moving into town. It was little short paragraphs. It was like Facebook statuses.
Wow.
It wasn't all these long articles that you would think it would be. And so, as far as using social media as a platform for promoting areas of town and Panama City and downtown ownership and that sort of stuff, I've sort of stumbled upon that as being a tool. But it was a habit that was established years ago. And apparently, it's a mechanism that entrepreneurs have used.
I feel like we're in history class right now. No, that is really cool though. I did not know that. So, talking about how important reputations are. Yeah. Giving back to your community, and it gives back to you. And being able to promote yourself and how important that is. Let's talk about your perspective of being told no.
Yeah.
Right. That everybody going out on their own, they're going to hear somebody telling them, no, you should just stay the safe course. You should just stay in what you've been doing forever.
You're more likely to hear no's.
Oh yeah, there's
than
a lot of no's,
yeses.
And how you take that no and how you accept it or don't accept it. Or learn from it is going to have a big sway on your path.
Sure.
So people telling you, don't do all your different business ventures.
Yeah. So
how do you look at that?
Beyond just people hearing ideas they're unfamiliar with and being like, whoa, and no to them. To do anything in life, like to run a 5K, you literally have to say no to, no, I can't stay out late tonight. I'm getting up tomorrow to run. Mm-hmm. No, I shouldn't eat that. I got to run tomorrow. So whatever if you're surfing, I know you guys are surfers. So it's like, oh, I'm getting up early tomorrow and I'm going to get in that cold ass water. Mm-hmm. So you're always you're saying no to things to say yes to other things. Mm-hmm. And so, playing football in high school and college, you're saying, no, I have to do things for training all year long and eating. I can't do those things. So you establish this thing where you have to say no. And you're having to say no to people who don't understand why you're saying no to things. Hey, let's go on vacation. Well, I haven't launched a new business. I can't go on vacation right now. Why not? We always, so getting people who are unfamiliar with your path or unfamiliar to this new path of entrepreneurship are going to be like, why are you saying no to hanging out all the time now? And ideas like when we first moved downtown, or we're talking about moving downtown, our downtown of Panama City has been blighted for 40 years. And I've only known it to be blighted. And so when I said, I'm buying a house buying a building downtown, we're going to move downtown. People, you would have thought I said we're moving to Fallujah. They were like, you're going to be dead in a week, and you shouldn't, that's crazy. And so, I always, when a lot of people, when the group is running this way, like I'm always going like, why are
wasn't
we
that
running that way?
right after Hurricane Michael too?
No, I bought it
right before?
like a year and a half before Hurricane Michael.
Okay.
I bought like 3 or 4 buildings before Hurricane Michael.
Another lesson: timing is everything.
Sure.
Yeah, but he moved to a place that was, like you said, blighted and was a year and a half away from being almost totally destroyed.
Sure.
I mean, just completely
We got
pummeled by a
pretty good
hurricane.
downtown.
But you were huge in that rebuilding. I accredit what you did to a lot of the rebuilding that happened there.
Yeah.
Your actions enticed a lot of other owners and a lot of other actions. Now it's thriving downtown. It's a better downtown now than it was when I moved here 15 years ago.
Yeah, it takes years to unwind decades of blight and apathy in general. And if you really start studying the way towns revitalize or even turn blighted, it's the same exact story. And you go to Greenville, South Carolina, or Ocean Springs, Mississippi, or Ocala, or Winter Park, the exact same stories. The mall rips the commerce out of the town in the 70s. Lawyers move in, turn buildings into warehouses. So it's the exact same story. Hurricane Michael just really galvanized this community to be like, we got to support local people.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that come and help you with chainsaws when the trees fall in your house. And so it takes a long time, and downtown is a long way to go. And when you're trying, downtown as a whole, I have the success of history class and other little things we're doing downtown, but then I need the whole area and town to be better, right? So if you're trying to make progress in a town, it has to be more than one singular effort. And so sort of, we were inspired by people to move downtown. It wasn't like we weren't the first people to move downtown, and we're not the first people to invest in downtown, but we really want to get everybody in, because we want to help build wealth with lots of people. And so it's not about us buying all the buildings and us fixing all the buildings. It's about, I always said too, I knew downtown would be sort of the ball is rolling when I can't keep up with all the stuff that's happening. And now people go hey, what's happening on Saturday? I'm like, I don't even know what's happening on Saturday. And so many buildings are being remodeled now and bought. And Hurricane Michael helped. So if you look at a blighted area, stagnant area, an area of ownership that people own buildings for 40 years, they don't want to fix them up. Hurricane Michael forced decisions. I don't want to rebuild this building, I'll sell it. So it forced 10 years of decisions over the course of 6 months. It sped them up. So it actually helped us. And so you had people had roofs ripped off. They were getting a bunch of money from insurance. They would sell their building cheap enough where you could actually put enough money into it to fix it the way it should be. So it was a good thing. But entrepreneurs are also good at really turning every bad situation into a good situation.
I hear your mindset of opportunity, and we don't see you don't see problems, you see a challenge, or you see a potential solution.
Yeah, well, with Hurricane Michael, it was. There's a saying, when there's blood in the streets, there's money to be made, or something like, And so buying low is buying things that people don't want in a time that people are like, you're crazy. And that's what buying, flipping is buying at the crest of your wave and trying to capture that last little bit or the highest. But, I'm trying to buy things I was buying buildings at $10 a square foot.
Yeah.
And people were like, you're crazy. I'm like, where can you buy buildings before Hurricane Michael? You can't buy a metal building next to the paper mill for $10 a square foot. Oh, nobody. I'm like, these are brick buildings. And so now they're worth $140 a square foot. So, and people were bringing me their buildings. Oh, buy my building, please, for $10 a square foot. Sure, here's $40,000. So I thought that was crazy. But when the herd's running one way, a few people go should we be running with the herd? That maybe the herd's running off the cliff. So they're always thinking contrarian to a lot of people. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, if you keep doing what everyone else is doing, you're going to be.
You're going to get what everybody else is getting.
That's exactly right. Yeah, investing. Everything's stories, reputation stories, marketing stories. Investing is a story. Investing is a story of going. If I put money in this thing, in this building, in this property, this stock, it's going to go up because, and that's the story of why you think it's going up. Speculation is a story in your head of why something's going to improve, and so. That's why stories are important.
And Eric mentioned how you're good at communicating and good at promotion. You could be having the best business, the best product, the best service, but if nobody knows you're there, then you don't really have a business.
Sure.
So, how do you prefer to market, or how important is it?
Can I answer that for you?
Sure.
Just what I've seen from you, Allan, and you can expand on this is. Like he says, it doesn't feel like marketing. He's not really, I don't think, doing it with the intention of marketing as he is in doing it with the intention of selling it and creating a story.
Yeah. Yes. And so, my background, software companies, but really I love stories, as you can tell. And so, and stories are content. And so I, as a online marketer, web designer, a UX designer, lead gen person, I get tired of someone who's like, buy this working with companies that are like, buy this cup of coffee because it's $5 and it's 50 cents cheaper than the other guy. That's a really tired message. Selling product is a very tired message for the marketer, for the business too, and your consumer. They go like, oh God, it's the same exact. So a lot of breweries are, here's a beer and you should care because it's got a hop you've never heard of. And it's cool. And that's why you see breweries doing like this unicorn fart beer and it's got cereal in it and these novelty beers because they're just desperate for attention. And the way I'm angling these businesses and the business I've done in the past is always, what is the story of the product? It's not about features. It's about not features as in the beer or features as in software. It's about the outcome. It's about you hanging out with friends around a beverage, you using accounting software. Yeah, exactly. So it's a much more fun
When I worked on a car lot, they told me numbers don't sell cars, feelings do.
There you go. Exactly.
Highland Finance, helping you prepare for life. IRS takes your money, stock market risks your money, and inflation reduces the buying power. At Highland Finance, we believe you should feel confident in your future. Our proven track record helps our clients prepare for life. Call 850-359-5989.
And so you don't talk to somebody about what the payment is or what the price is or what it is, but what they're going to feel like when they go pick somebody up from this place or go take their date out on or pick their wife up, and the feeling that they get from being in the car and owning that car.
Yeah,
it's way more powerful than the numbers.
Hey Allan, you can have a brewery, and for the next 50 years, you're going to be putting faith. All you're going to talk about is what's in the beer or what's in the food. I'd be like, that does not sound like fun. It's like the same thing, but it's a lot more fun to celebrate. Why is this school called this? I mean, you have a coaster from history class. Mm-hmm. This guy right here, he was a 23-year-old pilot from Tyndall, and he was a test pilot. His name's Edwin Gorbet. This is like 1960, 67, 68. And this is the early 60s.
Yeah, show the coaster.
Boom. Zoom on in. Take that in.
That's take it all in. Test pilot, Edward what?
Edwin Gorbet, and lieutenant. And so the story, he was like a singer at the Cove Baptist Choir. He was he was 22 years old, and he was a test pilot in this airplane coming over Panama City, and the engine malfunctions. And there's recordings of him calling back to Tyndall, my plane is on fire, and they're like, you need to eject. But he's flying over Jenks Middle School. And he literally would have crashed in the Jenks Middle School during their lunch while they're outside. My uncle was there. He's like, we saw the man, we were throwing a football. We look up, we see a man on fire in a plane. He banks to the left. He blows up over like where the garden club is now.
Yeah.
He blows, there's a monument there. He
like
blows
Lynn
up.
Haven type.
I would say close. He was trying to get to the bay. So he's banking towards the bay, blows up and takes his life. What a tremendous story, right? This is a guy who took his life to save all these school kids. This is a guy who should be celebrated.
Yeah.
Not the brewery owner. This is what makes town special. And so we did this logo, and he was 23 when he passed away, and we found his adopted little sister, which was his only sibling. She had a Google alert set for his name. She's like 75 years old now because this happened in the 60s. He would have been born in like the late 30s. And so she contacts us and she's like, this is amazing. Someone's remembering my brother. Can I buy some shirts? I'm like, oh my God, I'll send you as many shirts as you want to. And she sends shirts to her cousins, and they're like, these are all old people. They're like 70, 65 years old wearing the shirt of their cousin. That's way more special than me. And I know, you should care about this hop.
I know that that is some genuine stuff from the heart, but from the business aspect, you can't buy promotion like that. That is that's real.
Yeah, I mean we could have like Binky the Clown, the beer, or have like a real hero.
Or finding a story like that is that extra depth that where you went. So instead of researching all your hops and researching everything, it's like, hey, tell me about this town, tell me about the city, and so stories. And so it doesn't matter what business you have, if you can find the stories around there and incorporate those stories into your business, boom.
Everything's a story. All your purchasing decisions, buying decisions are stories of why that thing has value. And if you really want to build a special community, you have to celebrate people who are putting themselves into it. Like this is a man who was only in town for like 2 or 3 years, but like to love a place, you need to know a few of the stories. And in really great cities, Savannah, all these historic cities, they celebrate these stories. They protect the buildings and celebrate the stories. And so that's fun. That's way more fun than being like, you should care about truffle fries.
Or this price point is better than the next guy. That's really cool. And so I talking about entrepreneurialism and just kind of changing directions a little bit and talk about sales in general.
Sure.
Something that the two of you guys kind of have in common when it comes to more corporate sales. I work with people, I work with families, I work with business owners. I never really have to work with a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy and gatekeepers to get to the decision makers. But
sure.
How would you say it's different dealing with huge companies? You mentioned Lowe's, huge companies, compared to selling a product to an individual.
Yeah, so you alluded to when we bought our building downtown Panama City, I had a video production company that did mostly videos for software companies. And we bought this building and we said, let's build a house here. And I just thought, well, that's a fun story. Let's film let's just film Facebook videos for it. Then I thought, this could be like a show, like Chip and Joanna Gaines kind of a thing. And I was like, how do you do that? I don't even know what that is. And so I literally was Googling, like, how to sell a show to Netflix. And I'm always amazed at how easy it is to get to people. And so we've kind of figured out I bumped the mic. Who to approach at different companies. We approached the CEO at CMO at Lowe's, because you can figure out, with big companies, you can figure out their email addresses based on the structure. It's like Allan.branch or Allan Branch or A Branch at what, that's typically how these, and once you know one person's email address, you know the whole company's email addresses. And so you send a few emails you look them up on LinkedIn and you approach them. And I said, well, how do you approach them? And so I craft an email and I make a landing page on our video production site but it's a story, right? So the landing page it talks about our blog. I've written hundreds of blog articles and have like ebooks. And so I've established that, yes, I can write a story. I show them videos we've done at production of other things for software companies. And then I have a little teaser video of this particular project. So again, I'm not selling, I'm giving a story. Mm-hmm. You should trust me because I've done this, all these little steps that build up to this big. It's like hitting, a jab hook or single home run.
Or it's like in the Dale Carnegie sales training where it's 7 yeses, where
sure.
You're getting them to say yes to a bunch of things before you make your ask of, hey, what about this project?
And all the little things, actually one of the things that really got that done was I had written a blog article about shed quarters, which is a shed in your office as your company headquarter. And I wrote that on our blog because I wanted to build one, and I noticed that people were doing backyard shed quarters, and so I learned about construction through that project. But that little silly project that built the trust and the story to sell a $500,000 project to Lowe's. And you certainly have a lot of people that say no, we don't want to pick that story up, but you have a few people that say that's interesting, and you have to kind of be comfortable being uncomfortable. Not knowing what you're doing. I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. And so people are saying no, and I'm going like, why are you saying no? And then I'll figure out why they're saying no, that kind of thing, and you adapt. Yeah. And those kind of things too. If I'm trying to sell something to somebody, I'm not sending 100 emails. I'm sending 3 to get sort of
the feel of it.
And then I know what questions they're going to ask. And I wouldn't even go after my best target. So we send emails to Netflix and Hulu and Apple, and so you kind of see what people's voices, and we had calls with Mercedes, and
just kind of see where the industry is at for your product, and what adjustments need to make to adapt to make the product sellable.
Yeah, I was on the phone with.
I think we're gonna have to borrow your brain for a little bit while we find sponsors for this show.
So we had conferences, and I've sold sponsorships of that too. But I'm emailing Quikrete, and Quickrete's this $1 billion company, and I get on the phone with the CMO, and he's like, "What are you looking for in this deal?" And I'm like. He's like, I think you're looking for an earned media deal. And I'm like, that's what I'm looking for, earned media deal. You're right. Yeah, exactly. And so you're just learning constantly. Soaking in information. So
man, that's just a mind-blowing concept to me. We were talking about something that you perceive as so big. But when you say it like there's nothing to it, you just talk to Netflix real quick and, send an email and, had $500,000.
Yeah.
Because I had a cool idea.
Yeah, the big jumps look big, but the little steps, the ones that people go like, why would you do that? Why would you spend all this time building a shed in your backyard and writing for weeks about this thing? Those little steps never make sense. It never makes sense for a person running a 5K to be training at 5 a.m. on a Saturday. It's like, why not sleep in? But those little steps create the story to do the thing that you accomplish.
So awesome conversation. I'm really glad you came out here and speak with us today. While we're wrapping things up, is there anything that we missed that you think someone new in sales or a new entrepreneur, a new business owner really needs to know? Or is there something that you would like to plug as far as what you got going on?
Any charities?
Every month at History Class, we give 25 cents a beer to local nonprofits. We pick one. We always pick a small one. This January is Rooms with a Purpose, which is a volunteer group of people who go into terminally ill children's rooms and say you're into Snoopy or whatever kids are into now, but they make your room look like a train set or whatever. And so 25 cents a beer, it ends up being $2,000 a month.
Well, where can they find you at History Class?
I'm never at History Class, but they can go to the Facebook page. People used to come to History Class, like, where's Allan? I'm like, Allan's at home. Historyclass.beer is the website, or History Class on Facebook. You can find it. But the local, it's so much more fun as a business to celebrate other people, and that's really what businesses have testimonials for. Like when you go to the Nike website, they don't talk about the rubber compounds in their shoes. They talk about this runner who's enjoying the run. Right. So that's way more fun to talk about stories like the coaster or stories like the nonprofits than come on down and get some truffle fries and a chicken sandwich.
Emotion sells a lot better than logic.
And it's way more fun.
Everybody check out History Class. It's Harrison and 6th Street, downtown Panama City.
Yeah, can't miss it.
Historyclass.beer.
Yeah. I'd say support all your local businesses. You got to realize as a community, you vote with your dollars.
Yeah.
Yes.
And either you're voting and the money's getting sucked out of your town, or it's getting repurposed back in the town. And really, this community's been, even the beach, I think, is really looking to focus their spending on local people. And that's what, you don't go to a city and go, oh man, it was fantastic. They had a Chili's, they had a Dollar General.
You don't go there.
Oh, they got a Costco.
Applebee's.
Wow.
It was amazing. Walmart.
Because it's like they got all these
They had a really big Walmart.
They got great community things. That's why that's when the communities thrive. It's not the gas stations. It's not the Dollar Generals.
Man. Well, that is awesome. That's a powerful message. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Commission Mission today. Get out in your community, shop local, check out History Class. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Allan.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man. What an awesome episode. Allan, great guest. I think one of the things I really like about Allan and what he shared with us was creating the stories. It's so important. We get so tied up in the nuts and bolts of our business that we forget about creating that unique sales position, or that I changed it now. It's your unique story position. If you can create that around your business, then that is going to draw way more customers, way more clients. And
it's so necessary to be unique, to stand out from the crowd, but it's also scary because unique means, it hasn't been done before. Right? And so that's when you will get the no's from the families and the friends who are just out of the love for you, scared for you, and not wanting you to go out on a limb. But if you have that spirit, you have to do it, and you have to be unique to be successful. And then the other part of the no's is the no's that you say, to be disciplined, to be able to accomplish what you're focused on wanting to accomplish. And that's dreaming big. And everybody out there who knows they're destined for something better than clocking in and clocking out, you got to dream big. And I give credit to everybody out there that is going to work hard, do what they need to do, and get better at their craft to make sure their dreams come true.
Yeah, I watched a movie this weekend, and it had a line in there that was just a really powerful moment. It says that God puts all the best things on the other side of fear.
Yep.
And so Allan is an awesome reminder of that, because like when he bought these buildings and was rehabbing his house and these buildings downtown, it was destroyed. They were old. He was being told, "What are you doing? You're crazy." But to see the beauty and the amazingness that he's created from that is a really reminder to find that why. Mm-hmm. He had a big, huge why on why he was doing this. His story and his reputation was important to him, and then using that why to get you through any obstacles.
A lot of whys are, your kids or your family, but he has a big why in his community, and that's really cool. But when you're being unique, and you're going for the gold, being uncomfortable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and and though you perceive a big obstacle as big, you and your lots of your elephant and lots of little bites, it's not as big as you think, and just be adaptable. Be able to recognize the situation, what is needed to be tweaked to be a little bit better and to accomplish your goals.
Yeah, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great.
Boom. Hey, everybody. Check us out next time on the Commission Mission.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Commission Mission. It is our mission to increase your commission. If you got any gold nuggets out of the episode today, make sure you don't miss any more. Click, like, subscribe, whatever that action is for the platform that you're watching this on. Make sure you don't miss any more good nuggets, and help us help you.
Yeah, one of the things that new or struggling entrepreneurs struggle with is asking for the sale, asking for what you need, and they're afraid of rejection. But I'll give you a sample of that exactly right now. Is if this helped you in any way, please share this with 3 friends of yours, 3 people that you think would benefit from what was discussed on these podcasts. And
friends in sales, anyone in your organization that can benefit from this needs to hear it. Thanks, everybody. Highland Finance, helping you prepare for life. The profit your business brings in should go to you, not accidents, injuries, and hurricanes. Do a policy review on your general liability and workers' comp today. Our proven track record helps our clients prepare for life. Call 850-359-5989. Highland Finance.